So welcome back guys. Today we are gonna finish the half of the explanation of the ER diagram. In the last video we are done with the half of the explanation, that is what is ER diagram and its components. We have seen its main components, we have seen its three main components, of which two main components explanation was done. Today we are gonna do this part explanation, that is relationship. What is relationship component in ER diagram? So let's get started. So first we'll see what is relationship. Now see guys, relationship is first of all represented with the diamond shape in the ER diagram. It specifies the relationship between the entities. Okay, and there are four types of relationships, that is one to one to many to one, and many to many. So one to one relationship, when one instance of an entity is associated with one single instance of another entity, then it is called as one to one relationship. Like for example, here a person has one passport, and that passport will be given to that one person only. Okay, I'll get one. I'll when I'll apply for the passport, I'll get that one particular passport only. No, not two to three passports. Okay, and that particular passport will be of mine only. No one else will be getting that particular passport. So it has one to one relationship. Okay, in this scenario, a person and the passport entity has one to one relationship. Then comes many to one one to many relationship, where a single instance of an entity is associated with more than one instance of an entity. It is called one to many relationship. Here in this example, a customer can place multiple orders, but the order can be placed by one customer. Getting me? For example, let us go into the real life scenario in which you go on the websites such as Amazon, Flipkart, or something like that, and you shop something. You may place multiple orders, right? But those particular orders will be of yours only, na? Those particular orders with that specific order ID will not be placed by anyone else. It will be kept in your records, in your history of the shopping. So, in this scenario, customer and the order table has one to many relationship. Okay, then comes many to one relationship, when more than one instance of an entity is associated with a single instance of another entity, then it is called as many to one relationship. Now here, many students can study in one student can study in one college only, but the college can have multiple students, right? Now you go for studying in one college only. Now you go in one college only and study. You don't go into the multiple colleges and study, right? But in that particular college, in your class, multiple students are there for your course and for all the other courses also. So this was the scenario in this in this example, that a student and the college has many to one relationship. Okay, then comes many to many relationship. Now, just a second, guys. In many to many relationship, when more than one instance of an entity is associated with more than one instance of another entity, then it is called as many to many relationship. Here, in this example, a project can be assigned to many students, and many students may be assigned to that particular project, or multiple projects. For example, you got the assignment of the project for the Java, for C++, for Android, and all these things. And at this project, these multiple projects are not only given to you but to the entire class. So it comes to many relationship. Many projects are assigned to many students. Okay. or either from one side you can see like that a student is assigned to many projects, and a project many projects are assigned to a student. Or you can go with many students are assigned with many projects are given to many students. Okay, then next topic is total participation of an entity set. Till now, till here, we have done these four type of relationship we do have in ER diagram. So hope you got the entire explanation, you understood it well. If not, guys, I always say please mention in the comment section below. I will surely try to sort it out very soon. Okay, so let's get started with the next topic, which is total participation of an entity set. As the name suggests, total participation means a entity is having at least one relationship with an entire entity set. A total participation of an entity set represents that each entity in the entity set must have at least one relationship in the entire relationship set. For example, in the below, college must have at least one student. College must have at least one student. Okay, that is, one student must be associated with the college. Now let's do an example, a simple example of ER diagram. In this example, guys, we are having two entities, that is a student and the college. These two entities are having its own fields as well. A student table is having this student ID, student name, and student address as its fields, and student ID will be its primary key. And here in the college table has college ID and the college name as its fields, and college ID will be its primary key. Now, first, before understanding this scenario entirely, here, guys, it is specified as a simple scenario. Like we have two tables, we'll create those two tables, and then we'll put up these fields into it, and these fields into it, and we'll create one to many to one relationship between this using this diamond shape symbol. It is just like that, but let's do one thing. What we'll do, we'll create this diagram into the UML software, in which you have to perform the practical into the next video. And where what we'll be doing, we'll be creating this student table and college table, and these fields we'll be assigning it to these respective tables. We will create this many to one relationship, and we'll do with one more thing. Before that, you have to understand these three keys. Okay, first is primary, foreign, and unique. You must be known about it, you might be known about it, but otherwise then also I'm just explaining you it in short, so that into the next video we'll be able to perform it so well. So what will happen, guys, primary key is the one, see, now student ID is the primary key of the student table. So what it will do, it will uniquely identify the entire row, and it cannot be null. Means you cannot keep any of the record, that is row, without this value, because it is completely uniquely identifying the entire record for a particular student. Okay, so it should not be null, it should be unique, and it should be what to say, it should be unique, it should not be null, and it should be identifying the entire row. Okay, then the second thing we do have is a foreign key. Foreign key is a one, let's see first this student table is this having these three fields, right? What we'll do, we'll create one more field which will be of college ID. Now you will say college ID is not associated with the of course this is having many to one relationship, but this is the field of college ID, no? But what we'll do to create the association between these two tables, what we'll be doing, it is usually used for normalization. It is also an entirely different topic. So what we'll be doing, we'll create one more field which will be college ID, and this will be the foreign key for the student table. The primary key of other table can be the foreign key of the other table, with which the association is created. What will happen then, when I'll specify, when I'll be having a record, for example, instead of writing the names again and again of the student, CC, what will happen is, for example, I have wrote first Suchita, then see, let's do this. Whatever. Yeah, so we are having 1 2 3 4 5 records. Okay, so let us take for example, this is student ID, this is student name, this is student address. Okay, and this is college ID. Okay, so if I would not be having this table, and I am directly specifying the name here, right? You will be saying why to have another table. You can directly specify the name here. What will happen is, first roll number, for example, ABC, let's do this, Disha, address will be ABC, and name of the college is CHM. Then second, Nia, XYZ. Then name of the colleges, um, Vivekanand. Sorry, Vivekanand. Okay. So then the third one will be Asha, 1 2 3. Then CHM. Then fourth, Arun, 5 6. Vivekanand. Okay. Yeah. So what is happening here is repetition of the data, right? So instead of doing that, what we can do is we can create one more table. We can create one more table here into the database. This will be having college ID and college name. Okay, so 1 2 3, this is the primary key of the this table, and CHM, Vivekanand, um, KC. Okay, so these three are the colleges. What we can now do, when we'll be having one more this row here, that will be the foreign key, or you can keep it here also, it's okay. College ID, instead of specifying the name, what you will do, this was of CHM 1, this was of Vivekanand 2, this is of CHM 1, this is of Vivekanand. Instead of writing the name again and again, what we can do is these records will be saved here. You can just have to specify the foreign key. Now what inside in the system will happen when someone will extract this record, you can write the query like, select star from student where in, select star from college where college name is, sorry, you have to specify the column names properly, guys, into this query. Name equals to Vivekanand. Okay, so what will happen here? Uh, hope I have not missed out anything. So what will happen here? It will provide you the output of uh, this, sorry, this and this row of second roll number and fourth roll number student, student ID student. It will directly associate it with this table, and it will see which college ID is there and which college ID with this college ID is associated with Vivekanand. Okay, so this will be the output. So this will happen inside of the database when you will try to access the data. So this is the foreign key. Foreign key can be repeated. It can also be null. For example, I have not specified here because I might be not having any information about the college of the student, or might he didn't took any admission yet, but we are having the record like this. Okay, it can be null, it can be repeated, and yes, it is used to associate it with the different table. Okay, so the other next foreign key I am having, I am explaining these in short to you: primary key, foreign key, and then unique key. Now the only difference between the primary and the unique key you are having is, in primary key and unique key, both will be having unique values. Values in these cannot be repeated. Okay, here also unique values cannot be repeated, as they uniquely identify the entire row. Okay, then second is, both uniquely identifies the entire record, and same will be here. Okay, third one thing is, it cannot be null. It can be null, but but only once. Okay, because the value should not be repeated, even I have given once as a null value in unique, it will still be unique. okay, because I am giving null just once. Hope you are getting me. Only this difference is there in the unique and primary key. So you should not get confused, okay? So hope you got the entire explanation. In the next video, we are gonna create this diagram into the UML software, and we'll get this clear out more, and hope till then you have got understood the entire explanation. Any doubt, as I always say, please ask me into the comment section below, guys. And till then, if you find this video knowledgeable, please like, share and subscribe, and press the bell icon so that you can get the notification of more such videos. Till then, bye bye guys, have a good day. See you in the next video.